Here we are again. Welcome back to WD18, the Watford fan channel. Welcome to a review of the last few games. Obviously, Watford played yesterday. It was a defeat away at Oxford. A big result for them in their quest to survive relegation to League One. So it finished 2-0 to Oxford. In what was a really disappointing performance from the Golden Boys. A lot to get into today and a lot to get into over the last few results as well. We didn't manage to get a video in over the Easter weekend where there were two results during that period. Watford lost at QPR 2-1 in what was another disappointing display before drawing 1-1 with Charlton last Monday at Vicarage Road. We'll get into all of it. First off, I'm joined by Charlie Zazera. Charlie, how are you? Let's talk about away from football, because I can imagine from a Watford point of view, a bit down in the dumps, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think football on the whole has had a good weekend.
Very good weekend.
We've seen the early kickoff in the Premier League was a great result. A result for football, really. And make it a lot more exciting. Good fact, actually, Watford had a higher open play XG than Arsenal yesterday. Wow. So it's not all bad, eh, Sam?
Not all bad. And listen, before we get all down in the dumps, I do just want to say that Watford are, with 4 games to play, 11 points off the playoffs, meaning it is still mathematically possible. We win our last 4 games, results go our way, who knows? I think it's a fantastic position that we're in, and the fact that we're in
on a Sunday.
Who am I kidding, honestly? A lot to get into today. Like we said, we'll discuss those 3 games. We've also got a very special guest announcement ahead of the Mental Health World Cup, which is in less than a month now. Planning is well and truly underway. Nearly there, I think we are as well, and it's going to be, we're set for another unbelievable day. I think in terms of pedigree of people we've got coming along this year, we've taken it up another level, haven't we, Charlie? And we're gonna drop a couple of clues in throughout the video today, before our big announcement at the end, where are we gonna announce just the one special guest, Charlie? We've got a couple we're gonna announce.
I think announce the one. Like we've already announced Tommy Mooney, Watford legend, of course. Another Watford legend, Robbo. He's been on the channel a couple of times. So those guys are coming as special guest players. Of course, any of the teams playing like last year, we're going to auction those guys off. So for a chance to have Mooney up front or Robbo at the back for your team, there's a link in the description. And we've managed to pull off a bit of a coup for the latest special guest player. So should we have a first clue to get people guessing?
I think so. I was actually just going to say on Tommy Mooney, Charlie, if for some reason he can't make it in the end, maybe we just say to the team who wins him that you're him, and we could just use you as Tommy Mooney for the day. Yeah,
Mooney getting him to sign this for the auction. That just stinks of Tommy Mooney, doesn't it?
Stinks of Tommy Mooney. What a top that is.
All right,
sure we've discussed it many times. Best kits on Watford kits of all time, but that's right up there. Charlie, crack on. First guess. First clue
for our special guest, our biggest special guest player we've had, is that he's played over 200 games for Watford. So get in the comments, get your clues in, and we'll drop them in throughout the video. Hopefully someone can get it right. I'm excited to get it locked in. Excited to have him or her down.
Very exciting. Before we go into the men's team, which isn't going to be overly hopeful and optimistic, let's talk about the women's team first and foremost. Absolutely fantastic achievement for the Golden Girls. Last week they secured their promotion with a 3-1 win, back up. They came second in their they're currently top of the league with a game to go. They play Bournemouth, I think it's at Vicarage Road next week, in what is set to be a huge game. Renee Hector, the manager of the Golden Girls, led by Helen Ward as well. He's been overseeing things on that side. Fantastic job in what's been a fantastic season. Scoring goals for fun. I think at one point, like in the first 10 games, they'd scored like an average of like 5 goals a game, which was absolutely obscene. So credit to everyone on that side. Charlie, a special mention to them, I think, before we get into the men's team.
Yeah, and I think the girls have had a really successful kind of couple of years, especially after a Damo as well, a couple of years back, getting them promoted. They've won the league this year. What was interesting for me after listening to from the Rookery End podcast, Kieran was on there talking about us winning the league, but we're not actually promoted back up to, I think it's WSL2 yet.
Yeah.
The club has to get kind of different checks to get into the league, and there's going to be a conversation with the club about financial backing, and are the club going to do their bit to help the girls get that status. So although it's a really great achievement for the girls, I'm hoping that the club do back them, because they really deserve that, to get that achievement and get to be playing up there again, because we've been so good. So I'm sure it's going to be a bit of a talking point throughout this video as we go, talking a bit about culture, senior leadership. So I'm guessing we're going to get into it. Obviously, we haven't talked about QPR Charlton. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I just thought there was some maybe standout bits from there that kind of add on to the poor form that we've been on to. So let's get QPR out of the way. We're below QPR, which I'm already getting messages about, which is an absolute nightmare. I was sat next to Sam, last away game of the season. At least it wasn't raining. Trip to the tin. It was good to see a few QPR mates before and after, and Dave and a couple of other people having a drink. But that performance, Sam, was shocking. And for me, like, the standout thing about it was kind of how we set up, and I think it was that the first one back after the international break.
Yeah,
and we had Loser quite high up as a number 10, which I thought was pretty ineffective. We had Bove playing alongside Ekwa, and we had, who did we have on the right? Was it Irankunda? Yeah, it was Irankunda on the right, and obviously behind him we had Kevin Caben. Obviously, they score with a calamitous goal between Selvik and Caben, but the thing that really kind of struck me was, why did we change shape straight after conceding?
Yeah.
I don't know, it was like halfway through the first half, but we changed the plan. We put Bove right midfield, Irankunda kind of central. So that right side of Bove and Caben, not good at all. I mean, that just, for me, it was like we had all the week to plan, and one setback and we changed shape was a bit of a red flag for me. But I don't know. Again, don't want to spend too much time for it, but what were your big takeaways from
QPR? Look, I don't know how many times I've said this, not just this season, but over the last 3 games, but that's the easiest game QPR would have played this season. We were so soft. It was easy to get at us. We weren't aggressive enough. And ultimately, I think 2-1 flattered us. I think it could have been more. Watching the highlights back, QPR had that goal ruled out in the first minute. That was incredibly soft. I don't know if that was the other way, I'd be fuming, but that was disallowed. And we just never took the game. We were able to take the game to them, other than a couple of minutes when we made it 2-1 with that Loser deflected free kick. I think you're right, Charlie. I think it was concerning how reactionary things were. As soon as we had one setback, immediately we changed the shape, and we didn't look comfortable at all in that shape. In fact, I think we looked worse. And I think it went in at half time at 1-0. And I think that we were lucky that we only went in at 1-0. But it's a game that we've seen so many times, that Watford, we go 2-0 down. Then we start to play some okay stuff. I did think that at times against QPR, we played some okay stuff. I wouldn't say good stuff. Made it 2-1, but it was too little, too late. And again, it was just a weak, soft away performance. Charlie, I must ask, if you had to narrow it down, what was the biggest disappointment at Loftus Road for you?
For me, just the result, really, because I can't say.
I was going to say, Charlie, I don't think you've ever spoken about this on the channel. You've got a group chat with your QPR mates. Do you want to explain a bit what the tradition is whenever whoever wins gets? Yeah.
So I've got a group chat with some really close friends who I used to go to school with, kind of like our friends, a lot of those QPR fans, and we've got a tradition that our WhatsApp chat basically changes the name depending on what the Watford QPR score was. So a couple of years ago, when Tom Dele-Bashiru scored after 40 seconds, I think I changed it to "Gone in 40 seconds." The one I'm most proud of was the one after this season, Luka Kurangor scoring 2. It was, we'll have a Luka. Of course, we'll have a Luka. I was really happy with that. And at the moment, it's something crap like the man, the Smith, and the legend after their little man.
Boring.
But yeah,
this season, that Luca brace, that feels like another lifetime ago. I mean, three Watford managers ago now. But.
Yeah, but it feels like it's becoming a bit of a habit playing against them. We beat them at home and then lose away. Obviously, we had that Livermore moment, but
yeah,
I don't want to talk about it ever again. Sam,
no.
give me some positives about Charlton. You were there.
Yeah, Charlton was ever so slightly better. Again, I think the standards in the second half of the season haven't been anywhere near as good as we saw in that period between, say, November and the start of January. But it was ever so slightly better. Imran Loser, I thought, had a better game. Nestor and Kunda had a good game as well. So I think there were definitely more positives in there. I thought we were more positive, particularly after going 1-0 down as well. I think our momentum was relatively good. I don't think we ever necessarily looked like winning the game, but definitely Nestor and Kunda, I think was the clear standout for me. A really, really well taken finish. There's been a lot of talk. Well, I won't say too much talk, but that was his fourth goal this season. 2 free kicks, 2 from open play, 1 against Stoke was an absolute screamer. But this was the first time I think we've really seen Aaron Kunda score more natural open play goal, something that we might come to expect from him a bit more in terms of being through on goal. And it was actually, I didn't realise that when in the stadium or watching the highlights back, it was actually a really good finish from a tight angle against the goalkeeper who, well, from what Charlton fans were saying as well, the best game that he's ever had in a Charlton shirt. So yeah, he's been the big standout this week actually for me, Aaron Kunda. Even at Oxford yesterday, I think he was probably the only bright spark that we can come away from and say that, yeah, do you know what, he did well. We'll go on to the defending for the Charlton goal as well in a bit, but yeah, must send our best wishes to Connor Cody as well. It's a bit of a scary end to the game with Connor, but he seems to be on the mend now as well.
He's hard as nails, but
yeah,
it was a bit of a bad end to the game. Just on the Charlton game for me, I know we had 31 shots, but like if you actually look deeper in the stats, they had a higher XG than us.
Yeah.
They had 2.11 XG compared to our 1.29. Yeah, the Charlton goal, I've watched it once on a replay, and Saba Goglitidze kind of just walks and just leaves their man absolutely free. Yeah, I can he's been he's struggled, hasn't he, last 3 games really. But why can we play a bit slightly bit better at home? I know it's just like I'm just talking about the last 3 games, but it was a lot better in the Charlton second half, wasn't it, compared to QPR and Oxford? Do you think that's home comforts? The sun was out, Sky Sports cameras were there, like.
I do wonder how much of an impact, because obviously so many of the games are on TV now, and it is a bit of a myth that the Sky Sports cameras thing, that because it's so easy now for people to get their scouting information and stuff. But yeah, it is.
And I would say I'd put like QPR, Charlton, and Oxford like on a par of each other. Well, who's the best out of those 3 teams? Like, but I've said that so many times this season. Like, everyone we play seems to be crap, and they still beat us.
Yeah, it's so poor. Like all 3 teams that we played were, with all due respect, I mean, I'm not saying Watford were any good because they all 3 managed to get some points off us, but none of them really had to do too much. I think for me, I mean, the most disappointing thing about Charlton was Vicarage Road was so flat, and I'm not blaming Watford fans for that at all, but it's reflective of a 4th or 5th season in a row now, including the relegation season, by the way, in the Premier League in 21-22, because we were down already with 5 games to go. So it's another year, 5th year in a row, whatever it is, that we've gone into the last 5 or 6 games, the Easter weekend, with nothing to play for. And it's basically 5 friendlies at the end of the season. And it's just, I look back at like 2015. Do you remember that Easter weekend? We had Derby away on the Friday night, picked up a point there, drew 2-2. Then had Middlesbrough at home, 1-2-0, Dini and Ngallo up front. And there was so much riding on that Easter weekend, so much in it. And it was 4 massive points for us to put us in the box for promotion. Now it's just the last 5 games of the season. And this is a big talking point of the video today. Why do Watford always drop off at the end of the season? It's just so and that was the most disappointing thing for me on Easter Monday was just how flat Vicarage Road was, because the way that things were spoken about in the summer and the way that things should be, I think with the quality that we've got in the squad, at times, particularly in attacking areas, we should not have been done this season so early. I'm not sure what you thought about, if you could pick up on anything in the atmosphere from at home, Charlie, but it was flat.
That first half against Charlton, it's just a real shame now. Like, I'm just watching games where I'm struggling to get my attention like on the games. Like, I'm like mucking around on my phone or looking at other scores and stuff where you should be proper locked in. Let's just get onto this Oxford game, which was kind of the culmination of such a bad run of form, really. I think I know down some stats here. 1 win in our last 7, 3 wins in our last 18. We've now, I think this stat's been true after the Sheffield Wednesday game, but we conceded the first goal the most times in the league this season. So there's always that stat saying we've collected the most points from going behind, but we've handicapped ourselves every single time. You dropped a really good stat earlier saying we've picked up 11 points from a possible 24 from the teams in the bottom 4. It's quite frankly embarrassing. And then one stat that Adam Drury spoke about: we're winless in 18 games in April and May. The last 18 games, which is, again, like you said, what this video is about. And I just looked at this Oxford game. Yeah, I know they've got something to fight for, but when I looked at those two teams, I was like, there's not one of their players I'd rather have over our players. Every single player we have got is better and like levels better. But the big differences in the game is they had fight, they've got an identity, and they're all going in the same direction. And you just can't say that about our players. And it was just an absolute shocking game. The first goal that we conceded, if you could predict a goal, what would happen in this game, it would be that Kayembe trying to track back, gives away a cheap's foul. They just put a hopeless ball in the box. We can't defend it. It falls to one of their strikers and the score. It's just awful, really, really bad. And I don't really want to talk too much about this, but what were your big thoughts on the Oxford game?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, credit to Oxford. I think they had to win as well with the way that the results went, with Portsmouth snatching it late at Middlesbrough as well, and they knew. I actually just want to start off with Ed Still's pre-match quotes, because that's team talk enough for Oxford, isn't it? The way that Ed Still, a conversation needs to be had, overall on Ed Still, but naive comments. I think that's the team talk written already, saying that, I've got the exact quote here, Charlie. Ed Still saying that we want it more than Oxford, no matter what they're playing for. I want by the end for everybody to think that Watford were more up for it than anyone else. I mean, that's the team talk written for Oxford already, isn't it? I was really surprised that Ed openly said that in the press conference, said it, or at least phrased it like that. And not just because
to be fair to him, at least
I don't want to throw Ed Still under the bus. I do just want to say
I've got an important point here. At least he didn't get a big screen in the training ground and start playing TikTok. So you've got to give him a bit of credit.
Did you hear about this song that Arsenal supposedly played as well, along with the TikTok as well?
No.
Oh, so there was like an AI. So if you don't know what we're talking about here, basically a video came out this week of, in training, Mikel Arteta had a huge screen up in Arsenal training, and supposedly what was on that video was a TikTok compilation of Arsenal players and stuff, but also the music in the background was this sort of AI generated song with all the Arsenal players' names in as well. Just absolutely bizarre. So at least Ed Still didn't do that, so every positive. My thing is, and this comes back to the culture and that run of results that Adam Drury mentioned in terms of being winless in 18 games. Is it just away games or games in general across April?
Away games.
It's away games, yeah. That was anyone actually surprised by that yesterday? Because I guarantee you, if you'd asked me to almost predict exactly frame by frame what happened in that game, I would have pretty much got it 9 out of 10. You know,
I had 2 predictions that didn't come in. One, no player was sent off. I thought there'd be a petulant red card.
Yeah.
I can't remember what else I said in the game. I can't remember. I'll have a look on the WhatsApp.
I'm surprised we didn't. I think, Charlie, you might mention we're definitely conceding from another free kick or so set piece or something.
It just felt like our defending was obviously James Abankwah came in yesterday. So who do we have? We still haven't got our fullbacks.
Yeah.
But it's just the desire, isn't it, Sam? Like that's what it is for me. And these games, like it feels like even in the Premier League, like we're seeing these games. It feels like I remember, was it Burnley in the Premier League and Brentford where we'd score and then we'd fold maybe under Roy Hodgson. Yeah. I really remember a game being at the Vic when we played Cardiff. I think it was maybe when Wilder was in charge.
Yeah, it would have been Chris Wilder. Sorry, Cabba scored an overhead kick.
Yeah, I think we lost 3-1. And I remember that day taking a picture of Vicarage Road, seeing how empty it was. I'm thinking it will be good to kind of have this picture to compare it to next season when we have a good season and it's full again. But sadly, that's not
3 years later. Nope.
Yeah. Yeah. And what did you think about Oxford's second goal? This is really cutting edge analysis, but like I think everyone could agree. Like me and Sam are struggling in terms of having the energy and enthusiasm to talk about it properly because of the state of the performances that we're seeing.
Yeah, I'm also not too. I don't really want to go in on any individual players here from yesterday because, frankly, outside of Nestoria and Kunda, I don't think any of them have really come out with any credit from yesterday. I think Nella will admit that themselves as well.
I was happy that Othman Mama looked bright coming back from an injury.
Yeah. It was a difficult game for him as well to come into, come on for. It was, just the second goal as well was definitely coming. And I did think as well, I didn't manage to make the game yesterday. But I thought Watford, we were actually slowly building up a bit of pressure. Oxford were tiring. They'd put so much into that first 70 minutes. We had about 15, 20 minutes where we didn't necessarily create anything clear-cut. Like Luca had a shot that was just over. Iran Kunda had a couple of opportunities. I think Shafatatse had one as well. Dumbia, sorry, yes, rather than that was the chance I was thinking of rather than Luca when it just went over. But we just never really managed to create anything too clear cut. And that Oxford, we gave the ball away so cheaply. I think it was Kayembe gave it away, or Nampalys Mendy gave it away really, really cheaply in the middle of the park. Yeah, and am I being harsh here? Could Selvik have done a bit better? I know it's right in the corner and it's quite powerful, but the angle's a little bit tight. I don't know if that's me being too harsh there.
I haven't watched it back, but apparently people aren't too impressed with Caben's effort trying to get back. Yeah. But that might just be a bit of low-hanging fruit. But I've been saying, especially to my QPR mates, and I know a couple of people who are Oxford fans, like for Watford, it's tummy tickling season. We just kind of roll over and get our tummies tickled, and that's exactly what happened. QPR and Oxford. I don't know if you want to talk. It's the most obvious thing, and it's such a football it's part of football now. Even again to bring up Arsenal, they booed and they're top of the league and they're still in the Champions League. They booed at the full-time whistle. Obviously, Watford players booed, and please in the comments let us know what you think in terms of kind of that reaction in the way end. And if we're honest, the players probably deserve that reaction. But what do you think of kind of the phenomenon of kind of players coming back and having to face it? And I know Iran Kunda got a bit of stick. I think that's a bit harsh because, like you said, Sam, he was the only player who was going, I'm going to do something about this, even if I've got to dribble for everyone myself. Like if we had 4 or 5 more of the most talented players doing that, we would have probably got something. So I don't know what you've been in many an away end, and you've been in many a crowd where you've had to have Watford players come over. I don't. Well, you're partial to a bit of a French exit. So, what did you make of kind of the full-time scenes?
Yeah, only recently. I'd say in the last couple. Do you know what? 2 years ago, if you'd said to me like, "Would you ever leave a game early?" I'd go, "Absolutely not." But I think I've actually become quite prone to it now. Just sometimes I've just had enough of what I'm seeing, and I'd rather just beat the queues. I think firstly, I do think that it is important win, lose or draw. I think every player has to go over and clap the supporters. As performative as it is, and as much as, players might not want to be there and fans sometimes don't really want to see it, I think it's an important part of that interaction. And at times, like, you can't do it when you're winning and not when you're losing, I think. you know, like some members of the Watford board, you can't only talk when you're winning and talk about how good things are, but then completely disappear off the face of the earth when things fall off a cliff again. So yeah, I do think that needs to happen. I think it's completely valid for supporters are completely have their right to boo and to, well, I say abuse the players. That's absolutely not personally at least, but show their discontent towards the performances that they're seeing because it hasn't been good enough. The thing I would like to say on the flip side is that I've seen people equally have a go at fans for clapping the players off. I don't think that you can have a go at another fan telling them how to support the team. I think if you want to boo, every right to. If I was in that away yesterday, I'd have booed, definitely. But if people want to clap, people pay the same money to go and support the team following up and down the country. People want to clap, people want to show their support in their way, then they've fully got their rights to do so. And I've always said that I hate like the phrase happy clapper or whatever, people trying to be unconditionally positive, because people have a right to do so with that. Charlie, would you have booed yesterday if you were in that way? Sorry, I know it's a bit of a back pass question there.
I'm not really a booer, to be honest. Like, yeah, I've been accused.
You've been at the front of the banner asking for that.
But sometimes you're more unhappy with certain players compared to others. And I remember the QPR game. I remember clapping Quadro Bar, who kind of just come back from injury, and he played really well. So, yeah, I totally agree with you in terms of supporters have every right to do how they feel. I do find that it's just, again, abusing players during the games or being sarcastic or cheering players to get subbed off. That's not for me at all. But yeah, after a performance like yesterday, I was not surprised by the reaction. One thing that I wanted to highlight yesterday was Matty Pollock, who straight after the game approached the media team and he spoke to the press directly. And I just wanted to read his full interview because I thought it was fascinating. So I'm not
Charlie,
as good as...
before you do so, let's go back to something a little bit positive first. I think now we're about halfway through the video. Should we give a second clue as to who the player is?
Okay. Second clue for the special guest player is that he played... I don't know if this is too easy. I'll give a... He was a defensive player.
Solid.
So get your guesses in. I don't think anyone's got it right yet. So get your guesses in, and hopefully someone will get it right. Back to Matty Pollock and his words after Oxford game. Firstly, I want to apologise to all the fact. By the way, I'm not going to be as good as reading as Jacob used to be. But firstly, I want to apologise to all of the fans. I know that's easily said, but people are spending their hard-earned money and coming to support us. I can't stress how much it hurts. I've been here 5 years now, and this is probably the lowest point of my Watford career, seeing the fans like that. I know an apology will only go so far, and it's down to us on the pitch, but a game like that can't go unspoken about. As a senior player who's trying to be a leader, you have to take accountability. That's not good enough. We're sorry. The fans don't deserve that. For us to put that on show is not acceptable. For us to get bullied like that is not acceptable. We have to fix it. I'll do everything in my power to help the lads to be ready for the next game. There's no messing about, no waiting. It has to be right for the next game. He said, I feel the same feeling as every fan. I hate this season fizzling out. It's not acceptable. I feel ashamed that this happens towards the end of the season. And the saddest part is the fans come to the game expecting us to lose. It's become too easy for us to get beaten by teams who just bully us. Football-wise, we can go toe-to-toe with teams, but if a team sticks it on us, we have to be able to roll our sleeves up and fight for the club. We're falling short when it comes to what it means to play for Watford. I'm a northern lad. I've been brought up. You never roll over. You fight. You win your battles first. You're only good players once you've won your battle. Nobody cares who can play well. It's about who can fight, who can win the fight. We have so much ability, but we're falling short. For fans to come here expecting us to lose is a disgrace. We're in the Premier League when I sign, and I don't want to play in the Championship for the rest of my life. Half these players don't want to either. We signed to come and play for one of the biggest teams in the league, and we're falling short. It's so frustrating. On Ed Steele, Pollock said he's brilliant and has created a good feeling in the training ground. Pollock said he's got us training. It's energetic. It's pushing us a lot. We're letting him down. You can only do so much. It's when you step over the white line. It's too easy. Come here and get rolled over. We trained hard. We worked hard. The lads try hard, but on the pitch, we're letting you down. We're letting the club down. There's nothing more the manager can do. At some point, us as players have to look at ourselves before it's happening every season. You can change the managers, you can change other people at the club, but ultimately, if it keeps happening, you have to look deeper than that. That was a line that really grabbed my attention. Oxford are fighting for their lives, and you can see it. We stroll on the pitch. We can't just think we're going to get 3 points. It doesn't work. For me, that's where a leader of the team, it's easy for it to happen, and I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure we don't keep allowing this to happen. Thoughts, Sam?
Spot on, really. Knowing Matty a bit personally as well, he does really, like, I think he knows, like, he the cliche here, but he gets it. He really does with this football club. And I just like to hope that he's not the only one in the dressing room who feels like that. My feeling is potentially he might be one of the only few, judging by what we see on the pitch, and with sort of the attitude of a lot of the other players as well, which I think needs to be better. It's just, I don't think any of the players, even if you ask the players as well why we seem to drop off as well, I don't think it's even them who can put their finger on it. I just think now it's seeped into the mentality and the culture of this football club as well, that almost you get to the last 5-10 games with nothing to play for and just down tools pretty much. So it's damning quotes, and I actually think the last time we heard someone speak so openly about a Watford squad like this, it's a little bit of the Chris Wilder vibes post that Cardiff game that you spoke about 4 years ago now, when he just completely went in on that Watford team for about 5 or 6 minutes. And I think this is quite similar to that in that respect. It's at the same point in the season as well. But yeah, Charlie, talk to me, because you said there was a line there that really stuck out to you in terms of you have to look at what's going on deeper at the football club. I mean, we've spoken about this so many times. It's interesting a player saying it, isn't it?
Yeah, you can change managers, you can change other people at the club, but ultimately, if it keeps happening, you have to look deeper than that. Yeah, I think, look, we're not saying anything that's not new or kind of intel or anything. Like, I think me and Sam are quite clear on how we view, I'm not even going to say the ownership, like Gino Pozzo and how he's run this football club and the failings. We're going to talk about why we keep kind of dropping off before Christmas, but the fact that Matty's pointed that out is quite striking to me. But it's not like he said something wild that I imagine, I mean, a lot of people at the club will feel the same, unfortunately. I wanted to pick up something that you said on it, Sam. You said, I hope like other players feel the same as Matty. And I'm not confident there is many, if I'm honest, which is a shame. I don't know. Maybe I'm being harsh. It's hard to know when you're not inside, but I was considering yesterday was so bad. I thought Matty doing that was a one bit of positive. And like for me, if when Imran Louza leaves next season, I would give him the captain's armband. He's only 24 years old, but that showed proper leadership yesterday for a 24-year-old. And again, like he said in his quotes, he's from Middlesbrough. I think he's from Middlesbrough. But he's
got a bit of everything in him, Matty.
Yeah, I think he just, and when he was saying about working for the club, do you know what I mean? That's what you want to see. And I think he might not have the most ability in the squad, but I think he's got the best application in the squad. So for me, he'd be my captain next year. What do you think? Because a lot of people were saying yesterday he didn't have his best game and he needs to sort out his performances before he speaks out. But do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Matty had his best game yesterday either. At the same time, though, you can only do, I think, particularly as a centre half with what's around you as well. It's almost, you need other players as well to lift you up a bit with your performances. It's difficult, I think, when you've got so much pressure coming onto you from lapses of concentration in midfield and from the other defensive players to do too much. So I wouldn't solely. I mean, you weren't there, but I think it's a culmination of when everyone's playing poorly. I think it does sort of seep into you as well defensively. Yeah, I mean, the other thing that I wanted to pick up on what Pollock was saying was Ed Still. I'm not sure the exact record since he came in. It must be about 10 games now. Feels like we've won about 2 of them, maybe 3. We haven't seen. Has it got worse, or has it just stayed the same as that back end of Javi?
It hasn't got better, that's for sure.
No, definitely not.
And I know, Sam, I know you're not high on Ed Still at all, but I've got a slightly different view that I just think, and it's not his fault, but he's come into the job after the players have already had 2 managers this season. Most of them have probably had 8 managers at their time at Watford, and he's trying to galvanise a group where he's relatively unknown, so trying to get that respect, and he's trying to do it in the Championship, which is one of the most unforgiving leagues where you're going to have no gimmies. So he's not the first that's failing, and he's not going to be the last. And I just think it's impossible to judge him, really. I mean, obviously you can only judge him on results. That's everyone in football. But I just think any manager, it's impossible to judge at Watford because of that culture and because of, like you said, the mindset of the players. And to be honest, I don't think, if we were ranking like what's the biggest problem, I don't think the players are anywhere near the top of the problem. I just think it's the culture is so bad at the club in terms of the expectations, the different coaches. There's one thing that I wanted to mention a bit later on in the video, but yeah, for me, Ed Still, I don't blame him. I don't know if he's a good manager. I don't know if he's a bad manager. I don't think he's improved anything. I think the players like him, and I think he's got good intentions, and his communication skills are okay, whether they can be naive or not. What's your thinking? What's your thinking with Ed?
I think it is fair that as a manager itself, it is difficult to judge him in a scenario like this. I mean, like I said, when he got the job, a manager with his record beforehand and also with his links with Modi buyout, unfortunately for me, it's difficult to win me round at that point already, and he hasn't won me round. But that being said, like, again, we're just covering old ground here, but it's the culture at the football club. We're using that word again here. No manager, unfortunately, will be successful here. Genuinely, Pep Guardiola can manage us, and we'd be in the same situation as we are now. And I don't know where we go from here, which is why the ownership need to go, because we've tried every single type of manager. We've tried we've gone full circle from sacking Tom Cleverley this time last year, from saying he's not experienced because we said we need an experienced head in, to then bringing in Paolo Pezzolano, who had 0 experience managing England anyway, Gracia, who was really good in his first spell, back to Ed Still, who was even less experienced than Tom Cleverley managing in the Championship. So it's gone completely full circle again. And this is just the decision making at this football club, Charlie. Like, I'm just tired of it, and I beg they sell the club, because I'm so bored. I'm so bored, and I think that's the thing for me, is that in the last 4 years I've watched the exact same season 4 times in a row. All right, maybe we didn't. I think this season is definitely the most disappointing in respect of, I can't remember where I saw it earlier, but the table at the Birmingham game, and we were 4th. We were 3 points off playoffs after that, off the top 2 after that Birmingham game. Since that Birmingham game, we're 4th bottom of the league. Like, the fall off is just, I don't think we've seen the wheels come off like this, as badly as this in a long time. And I'm just tired of it. I'm bored. I don't really see a way out of it now until the ownership go. Yeah,
I'm trying to pick Sam up, which I'm not going to help with this, but I just wanted to bring this tweet up, which Luke has tweeted recently. By the way, Luke has done an article on his Substack, which is a really great read about what it takes for football clubs to be successful, having kind of that synergy, that alignment, what we do well, how we can fix it. So make sure you give that a read. But he recently tweeted, forgot to put it in here as what I know, it's a matter of when, not if Ed is sacked. There's not alignment on the board, and we all know what happens there. Blades could be decisive. Players really like him, is what I'll say, which wasn't the case for Javi and Paolo. Surely they're not going to get rid of him before the end of the season. He mentioned the Sheffield United game, but what's the point? They're going to give it to Charlie Daniels for the last 3 games.
Yeah. Oh,
Roy Hodgson's taken.
Roy Hodgson's taken. I said Easter weekend, so I just missed it. If that is the case, yeah. I mean, it would be Charlie Daniels if that was the case. I think just to the end of the season. Yeah, we'll have that conversation as and when, but it's just
okay.
Just the outside of the season. I mean, I don't think if I had to push you for an answer, Charlie, yes or no, will Ed still be here the first game of next season?
No. I think we've spoke about that. But let's get to that when we have to. Shall we have another clue?
Yeah, let's have another clue. One more clue before we.
Right, one more clue. The special guest player has played with João Pedro. Get your comments in. The 3 clues are, and I can give another one if we want. 200 games for Watford, defensive player, and has played with João Pedro. Sam, I feel like we're kind of going over old ground a bit, but the question that's on the running order is, why do we always drop off at this end of the season? And I've got here, and again, get in the comments and let us know, is it the culture? Is it the manager? Is it players? Is it recruitment, January windows? Is it injuries? Is it the hierarchy?
I think it's the top. Everything stems down in football. I'm a big believer in that everything stems down in terms of the culture, the manager, the players, the recruitment. It all comes from the top. Nothing will change until this ownership go, Charlie. What if you have to pin one down just for this season, actually in isolation? If you had to put it on one, who would it be?
Again, it's the manager, Sam. It's not the managers individually, but it's the fact that we've had 3 managers.
Yeah.
And the plan from pre-season has changed to Javi to change to Ed. And again, it's just one man. It's Gino Pozzo. So, like you said,
yeah. I mean,
this is one point that I wanted to mention, which has been in my head. It actually popped into my head when I was having a shower once, which is slightly strange. But I realised that the Pozzo model and our ownership is flawed because we're all about recruiting young players for lowish fees, which we hope to flip for a lot of money. They're young, they're talented, they need a lot of development. So that's our recruitment strategy. Whereas our head coach strategy is we're going to chop and change head coach every time we don't win in 10 games or whatever. So how are these players ever going to develop? And I mean, fair play to the club. They have brought in really talented players. So they've still managed to make money from these players. And they're going to have to do that again in the summer. But how are you going to develop players if you're going to do this with their coaching? That's just one thing. But Sam, have you got any solutions or anything that hasn't been said before when it comes to Watford and this ownership?
I do think, particularly as well with these issues of going into the last 5 games with players downing tools, I'm going to sound like I contradict myself saying that I'm not the biggest fan of Ed still, but it is an issue as well of someone's put it really nicely here in terms of no accountability for the players. Players know that there's a real lack of jeopardy for them at the end of every season because a lot of them are on long contracts that they've been given, and they've got sort of 3 guarantees at the end of the season. Either they'll go on to bigger things, just as an example here. I'm not digging out players here specifically for downing tools, but someone like Imran Louza, Otmane Mama, Georgie Shafatadze, Nestoria and Kunda might be a bigger club, not bigger, but like, clubs better off next season than Watford are. So they're not necessarily thinking about putting everything into these last 5 games. There are other players who are either on long-term deals or have Mogi buyout connections where they know that they've got an easy get out to a different football club. So they know that their future is safe, because if not, Mogi will take them to Charleroi, Udinese, whatever. The other players who are still there know that they don't have an issue, because what will happen is the manager will get sacked, and that they don't have to take any accountability, that there's no punishment. Punishment's the wrong word here, but there's no consequence for them if they do badly, because it's the manager who faces it. So what needs to happen as a solution is that the manager is stuck with, and that we have a clear plan, and that we give a manager a season, 2 seasons to really, really build something. And the players will know from that yes, if they don't perform, then that's it for them, that they're out.
I don't think that the players think like that personally. I don't think they're like, I think it's a subconscious thing, that, because if I go through all of our players, I think we've got a really good group of lads there, but it's just the club culture, like you said, that seeped in. It's kind of subconsciously where that we're not getting the full out of our players because of the constant churn and just that culture of, like you said, lack of jeopardy, and some players coming in from certain places, etc. So I don't really have any blame on the players personally, but I just think we're struggling to platform them and give them the best chance because of the way the football club is run. And I just think that's such a shame, because the talent that we've got in our squad, like I said, if you compare that to Oxford, I wouldn't have had one Oxford player in our team. And the fact that we're going to finish 12th, 13th, 14th, who knows, 15th, 16th with the talented squad that we've had in the worst championship I can ever remember is a huge failure this season. And I'll put that solely on Gino Pozzo. Just one other point before we talk about, we'll end with revealing our special guest. But Sam, I mentioned, I think it was Andrew French, who used to be at Watford Observer, mentioned about Valon Barami. I don't know if you got, what exactly did he say?
Yeah, I don't have it in front of me now, but Andrew French pulled up a really interesting point, which is, where has Valon Barami been over the last few months? We saw him. He was in the technical area on that first game of the season next to Paolo Pezzolano. Again, feels like another lifetime ago, that game. In the middle of the season, he was next to Javi Gracia in his press conferences talking about the January transfer window. And since then, we just haven't seen him. We haven't seen Scott Duxbury. I know we got the new Watford Supporters Engagement Board, who are doing a really, really good job. Some really interesting notes from their first meeting there. But it would be interesting to see, I think, for the fan base generally, in press conference form, not on at your place version or a fans forum sort of version. I think in a press conference way, where they can be properly quizzed by the media, in terms of what's been going on from their point of view. And that's what I'd quite like to see from Valon Barami at the minute.
Yeah, when you sent me that message, my first instinct was
gone.
I would not be surprised if he fell out over whatever happened at Javi, because since Javi's gone there, you haven't really seen him, have you?
No.
And I remember, I think I did a tweet praising, especially when we got Bove, because he was heavily involved in getting Bove in that communication, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And I think he's got a bit of a connection with the fan base from his playing days. I think he's spoken well in the summer and whenever he has spoken, but yeah, really interesting that he's gone quiet. So is there any positive or any final thought that we could give? Because for me, it's like we've mentioned nothing's going to change unless the ownership go. But Sam, Gino's not going to sell up this summer. Very unlikely in my eyes. He wants Premier League money before he goes. He sees that the Championship next year has got 8 places.
8 places, yeah. Even less chance he sells now, I think you're right, because of the 8 places.
I've got a bit of a theory on the only way we can be successful next year, but have you got any thoughts, or do you think, like, Do you think it's going to be exactly the same next season?
I think we'll be sat here this time next year doing the exact same video. Genuinely, I believe that. I think we'll hear the same cliches that we've heard for the last 5 years throughout the summer. Maybe across November, December, we might be flirting with the playoffs. If the worst case doesn't happen and we're in a relegation battle, and then we'll see the January fall off again. Why would it be different? It's been the same for the last 5 years. I don't know. What's your theory, Charlie? How would you fix it?
My theory, I don't know how we would fix it, but my theory is the only way that we could have a successful season, and like whether it's going to be luck or we probably need a lot of luck, but doubtful it's going to be Ed Steele. The next head coach they bring in, he needs to have an unbelievable start and get instant buy-in from the players, and I think you've got a 5% chance of doing that. I like exactly from the last season. I think the players would have been pissed off after Cleverley got sacked because of the relationship they had with him. What we like what Luke said, the players are probably going to be pissed off again when Ed Steele, if he gets sacked. So like whoever's coming in is coming in again with already that subconscious negativity. But if they do manage to bring in someone with a bit of clout, someone who's maybe got a bit of reputation, and he can instantly connect and get between 5 and 10 games of positive results. Because I think at that start of the season, and if you can get buy-in from the players, that's when potentially maybe you could have a good season. Because I think this season, we said it at the start, was like it was so clear the players weren't having Pezzolano, and that just kind of instantly put us on the back foot. But am I just in dreamland?
Welcome back, a Paolo Pezzolano-esque type character in the summer. The cycle will continue, my fear is. Yeah, you just gave me that striking flashback to Norwich in the Carabao Cup on our second game, and we were all in the Elton John stand that day, and you could so clearly see the disconnect between the players and Pezzolano, if you remember that, Charlie. Just like you could see that the players had no idea what was being what they were meant to be doing. It was actually a really, really bizarre thing to experience firsthand in hindsight. But yeah, I mean, it's difficult to get excited for next season, isn't it?
Look at this though. Look at this from Ben. It's not all that bad. The summer window is always interesting. We always do some good business. We will just go again. Vata coming back. Othman Mama, Iran Kunda, all maturing. Will Bove emerge? It's not all bad. Sam, that's one thing with this football club. We'll end with a positive. One thing with this football club is it's never boring. We could be Preston. We could be Bristol City. No. We're Watford and embrace the madhouse. If you don't laugh, you cry. And who knows? Something crazy might happen. Have you got any positivity before we reveal the special guest player?
Well, I actually do think the Mental Health World Cup is a big positive. I think, again, it's just what you see as, even yesterday off the pitch, not being there, but you can see from the toxicity from the Watford fans in that away end how much people really, really care about this football club. And that's just the on the pitch matters, but off the pitch as well. I think what you'll see with this year's Mental Health World Cup as well, which is even bigger and better, is how much people care about the stuff off the pitch as well, and looking out not just for people outside in the general community, but within the Watford community itself. And that's it. We're all in it together. We're all one. As frustrating as things are at the moment, we'll all still be there next season in those away ends, home and away.
You renewed your season tickets, Dan?
I have renewed my season ticket as well. But yeah, again, I saw a lot of. I'll talk about it with clapping as well. I know I was going on a nice positive little. What's the opposite of a rant? I don't really know, but I was trying to be a bit positive there. But I've seen people have a go at each other for renewing season tickets. Again, people are fully entitled to support their club the way that they want to. I will always renew my season ticket as much as I could. It's an unconditional love. We go again up the Watford. Let's announce our special guest for the Mental Health World Cup, Charlie.
Let's do it. A couple of you guys have got it right, so I'll get your right answers in a bit. But like I said, if anyone doesn't know, the Mental Health World Cup is a charity football event that we're teaming up with a guy called Giancarlo, who has made an incredible business now. He's got events coming up at the Tin QPR. By the way, he showed me presentation of Watford's changing rooms compared to QPR's the other day, and I was just laughing the difference. But they've got an event at QPR, they've got one at Millwall, they've got one at Goodison Park, Everton's old ground. And yeah, we're teaming up with those guys again. We've got a 40-team tournament this year. And before I announce a special guest player, I'm going to exclusively announce that the academy coaches are back playing this year, the guys who won it last year. So if people don't know, that includes legends like Lloyd Doyley, Charlie Daniels, Adrian Mariappa, Dan Goslin, and even Matty Bevs is coming back to play. He was in net last year and he was very good. I don't know. I know Plymouth.
I was going to say, Matty Bevs is surely touch and go, isn't he? If Plymouth do get into those playoff spots.
Yeah. So those guys are going to be back. There's going to be 5 groups of 8 teams, 40-team tournament. It's on Saturday, the 9th of May. Starts at like 9 o'clock. So, guys, get your tickets in the link below. All the money that we are raising on the day, whether it's for the special guest players or we're going to be doing an auction prize soon. I know we've got a signed new Elton John shirt signed by the squad. We've got a few more stuff that we're going to announce soon. And yeah, just come down. Hopefully the weather's as good as it was yesterday. Hopefully there's going to be kids activities. There's a massive kids training session as well. There'll be food and drink, and you get to watch some Watford legends playing, including our special guest player who is FA Cup semi-finalist, Mr. Craig Cathcart. He's coming out of retirement to play at the Mental Health World Cup. So if you guys want Craig Cathcart playing in your team, look at the link below and you'll be able to bid from him. After this video, I'll set that live. And again, all proceeds are going to our 5 amazing mental health charities. We raised 63 grand last year, Sam, which is mental. We're going to raise more this year.
I'd pay 63 grand alone to have Craig Cathcart in my team.
What random item are you going to end up buying in the auction this year?
Yeah, I've bought over the last couple of years. Last year's was unbelievable. I bought Adrian Mariappa's one of his shirts from his first seasons at Watford. It has the Coca-Cola Championship badges on the side. It's I simply had to buy it as soon as I saw it in the auction, and I can't remember who I was bidding against for it, but it went back and forward for a bit, which was good fun. Yeah, I'm buzzing to have Craig down, and a bit full circle moment for us as well, because a huge chunk of the money that we raised in, well, it wasn't the Mental Health World Cup then, but the WD18 Cup 2 years ago now, was from Craig kindly donating his FA Cup final shirt as well, which we managed to auction off, which all went to mental health charities too. So looking forward to seeing Craig. Charlie, are we going to announce anyone else on here for now?
No, we've got a couple more players confirmed. We'll announce those guys in the week. We've got one player who was from the Watford Academy. I think he played over 90 games, like early 2000.
Promotion winner.
Yeah. And then we've got. Wait, are we talking about?
I got the wrong one. Sorry, we got two mixed up.
I think they're both promotion winners, but one of them, both academy players. One of them got promoted, I think, in 2005, and the other one got promoted in the 2015 team. Is that right, sir?
Correct. Yes, I think we got two mixed up there.
So that's alongside, obviously, Tommy Mooney and Paul Robinson. So yeah, the fact that all these guys are coming down, putting their bodies on the line for charities, they're going to be carrying some of our teams. We really appreciate it, and we just hope you guys fancy coming down to see how it all unfolds and help raise watch loads of money. I'm sure they're going to be up for a selfie, up for a chat. Maybe we don't have to talk about this Watford season, but we can do. Sam, should we wrap up? Do we want to have a Sheffield United prediction?
Oh, I must say as well, by the way, if you've got any cool Watford items signed, match worn, past, present, anything that you would be happy for us to auction or raffle off, then do drop us a message on our socials, and we'd love to have a chat with you. Sheffield United at home at Vicarage Road next Saturday, our penultimate home game. What for the 4 games left? Sheffield United. We have West Brom at home the following Tuesday. We travel to Middlesbrough, and then
West Brom away, isn't it?
West Brom. Did I say West Brom at home? West Brom away, yes. Middlesbrough away, and then we finish the season against Coventry, who are all but promoted. But let's just start off with Sheffield United. Chris Wilder coming back to Vicarage Road. Their season's pretty much done as well. Charlie, a score prediction.
3-3.
Class. I'm still waiting for that this season. I do think we'll actually see a little reaction from what we saw. I'm going to go 2-1 Watford.
That's the positivity that we want to end on. Go on, Sam, wrap it up.
Exactly. 2-1 to Watford next week. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I know that wasn't the easiest video I imagine, to watch at times, trying to relive an uncomfortable day yesterday for Watford. But we hope we made you all smile a little bit with that news about the Mental Health World Cup at the end. More information on that will be in our bio, and we'll release it on our socials as well soon. Charlie, thank you very much, as always, for joining me, and we'll be back next week, either after Sheffield United or after West Brom, to talk about those games. And thank you, everyone, for watching. We'll see you all soon. Up the Hornets. Yuans.